Hello, Brick Sculptors, and welcome back to Brick Sculpt. This is Chris, and today we have another exciting episode of Help Me Brick Sculpt. This Lego problem comes to us from Matt, and he says, "Hi Chris, I have a Lego dilemma that has me stumped, and I'm hoping you might be able to help me out. I have been working on building a Delta II rocket, and there's one part that I'm struggling with. The design is one main shaft with 8 smaller boosters near the bottom. I've built the main shaft using a 4x4 core with snot bricks and 2x4 by 2/3 curved sloped pieces around the outside. What I can't seem to figure out is how to attach the 8 boosters around the outside in a way that they are securely attached. Ideally, I would like to have them removable like the real thing, but I might be willing to forgo that feature if it means a more secure connection. Right now, I'm using 30033 plate modified 2x2 with bar frame octagonal with clips and 1x1 plates attached with 1/2 pins in the boosters. But the connection is really weak, and if I pick it up wrong, they will fall off easily. I know this isn't your typical kind of Lego problem you deal with, but maybe you can shed some light on this. I'm sure there's a simple solution I'm just not thinking of. Thanks for your help and love your videos, Matt." Well, thank you, Matt, for being a fan, and I can help you with this. One thing I might not have ever told you guys on this channel, I'm into a lot of things, but I absolutely love space stuff. Not so much sci-fi, a little bit, but not a lot. But when it comes to like real space stuff, like NASA and rockets, I'm a huge fan. And the Delta II rocket is an awesome one. He did send me some pictures of his creation here, and there you can see the Delta II rocket, which looks absolutely beautiful, with 8 boosters around the outside and 1 central rocket engine in the middle. And so I did what I typically do when I get a challenge, is I obsess over it. I went straight to the basement and started tinkering with parts. And I spent about 2-3 hours, and I came up with a design that I was pretty happy with. And then I didn't do my research up front. I went upstairs and started getting all the things together to make this video, and I gathered a whole bunch of pictures of Delta II rockets. Look at how cool that rocket looks. I even have all the different configurations here, including the Delta II, 3, and 4, with all the medium, medium plus, and heavy versions. What a cool series of rockets. And then I also have these configurations showing all the different configurations of boosters. And this is where it hit me. When looking at this picture, so that's cool. You can run it with 3 boosters, 4 boosters. Wait, that's 9 boosters. And 9 small boosters. Wait a minute. Matt said 8 boosters. Well, I am a rocket fan, but I didn't know my details that well, and it really caught me when I was looking at this one. I was like, why are the 4 boosters asymmetrical? And wait a minute, the 3 boosters are symmetrical. Uh-oh. So I sent Matt an email, and I said, wait a minute, the Delta II rocket is supposed to have 9 boosters, not 8. And I got an answer from him that 8 is kind of what he could do, and I don't know if it was more of 9 was too challenging, or he's making it in his own way. I don't really know. Didn't get the clearest answer out of him, but that's okay. So what I did is I did both. Because I already did the 8 booster version, I'm going to show you that. And you might be saying, why are you going to show that one? It's insignificant. And I would disagree, because though you might never make a Delta II rocket, this channel is about techniques and showing off ways to do things that are challenging and problem solving. So I think there's plenty of value to be seen in both, because though you might never build this rocket, you might build something else 8-sided, and 8-sided figures are quite challenging. Now, after building that, I went and did a 9-sided one, which, let me tell you, 8 is hard, 9 is exponentially harder. But I came up with a pretty good solution that I like. The boosters are pretty dang secure, and I'm going to show that off here. So I'm going to show you the 8 booster one first, and then I'll show you the 9 booster one. And hopefully you guys enjoy seeing my process here. Now, first and foremost, this is the core that he's using for the rocket, or the width of the rocket. And it's basically these sloped 2x2s built into a circle, or very close to a circle, which is a great technique for making circles if you've never done this. This is really, really handy way to make a good looking cylinder without having to use a lot of specific big pieces. So that's going to be the width of the rocket there. So I needed whatever attached to the boosters to be relatively similar in width to this in order to make it look good and function good. The other thing I was a little concerned with is He used this blue, which I think is one of the azures, maybe dark azure, which is very accurate. The problem is you're going to get into some real specific pieces down here, and that color is not super common. But luckily, not all the rockets do blue down here. In fact, some of them are all white. That's kind of rare, but it's not uncommon to see white down here. And I would recommend for the complexity of these builds, white might be a little more accessible than the blue. And the solutions I have are going to be available in white, but maybe not in that blue. So just a suggestion there. You do what you want with it. But anyway, let's go ahead and build this thing. I'm going to show you what I came up with, and let's do some problem solving. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start with this here. And I've got two 4x4 round plates, a 4x4 round brick, and then just a spacer here, which is 2 plates high on this 2/3 brick on top. Now I needed to make something around this. This itself is too small, but I wanted to wrap this in something that I could put 8 connection points on. And this is what I came up with. Using these 1x2 plates with rounded edges and open studs, we can wrap these pretty much perfectly around a 4x4 circular brick or plate. So that was going to be the start of it right there. And it just so happens that this layer of these interlocking plates has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 spots. So if I have a connection point at every other spot, that's 8 connection points. So next I needed connection points. And for this design, I decided to use 1x1 bricks with a Technic connection in them. I actually have a different connection point for the 9-sided one. We're going to talk about that when we get there. But for now, this is what we're going to use. And I apologize for the funky colors. I built this kind of quickly and I didn't want to order parts for it. But actually in building this, I'm kind of inspired. I kind of want to finish this build with the 9-sided one, not the 8-sided one. But we'll talk about that at the end a little bit. They're all rolling away. So anyway, what I'm doing here, Technic brick 1x1 with a hole. We're going to do every other there. And there's our 8 connection points. In between each of these, we're going to do a 1x1 round brick. Now this is definitely adding a little bit of texture to the surface of the rocket, but keep in mind the vast majority of this will be covered by those boosters. When you wrap this cylinder in 8 boosters, and especially 9 boosters, you aren't going to see a lot of that cylinder anymore. Now, obviously, when the rockets come off, that's a different story. But check out the difference here. It's actually quite similar in diameter. It's a hair bigger, but not much. And actually being bigger is kind of nice because it makes the boosters stick out a little bit from the rocket. So there is our 8 sides. And on the top, I have basically the same chain of these 1x2 plates with open studs, but I used tile ones every other in the top, and that's very important. I'll show you why here in a second. So we're going to go ahead and connect these around the top, securing everything in place. Just like that. Now, why do I have the tiles on top? Well, the cool thing is, if we use every other one of these, we can actually take the 3x3 curved tiles and connect them on there, which makes for a super seamless transition into the body of our rocket. And this will make a nice, perfect circle here that is 6x6 and just barely larger in diameter and circumference than the body of the rocket. So it's almost just a perfect solution right there. Now I had to attach the core here, and I needed to make another one of these on the other side. To attach the core, I grabbed pins. Now 4 of the pins are just standard Technic pins, and 4 of them are double long. The double long are very important because this center cylindrical piece has Technic holes as well. So because I have an even number here, I can actually push one of these extra long ones through and attach the core in 4 positions. And now that is a rock solid connection, and that is not coming apart. And then I can take my normal Technic pins on these ones here, which are also nice and solid, and we have an 8-sided body piece here. And then on top, I'm just going to take another 4x4 rounded plate, stick it in the middle, and then this is ready to transition into the body of the rocket just like that. You can see the diameter is really close. I mean, it looks really good. And we have our 8 connections there. Now we need to build one on the other side. We need a spacer, first of all. And that's just going to go right in the middle here. And it's the same construction as up top. I just put some snot pieces in there to get those connections so we can space it out properly. And then we're going to build one on the bottom. Now I actually just realized I have these reversed because I added one extra layer here just to space it out for the boosters. You could remove that and do the boosters a little differently, but for the sake of this, because I'm using the same boosters for both rockets, I'm actually going to reverse this. So hold on, let me flip it around. This is actually going to go on the bottom, and then we're going to put this one on the top. And that should give me the proper spacing for the boosters I created. I know most people would edit that out, but I'm not most people. I'm showing you my process here. So there we go. We have 8 connections all the way around, 2 layers, and we are ready to put boosters on it. Now, do you think I'm crazy enough to go through every cylindrical 2x2 brick that I have to make 8 boosters? Well, yes, I am. And here they are. Now, as you can tell, the colors are all over the place. I did make one white one, but basically this is just round bricks, 2x2s. I did put a Technic beam down the middle for a little added support. His connection points are a little different than mine. Matt used these pieces, which I didn't have, so I did a little different. I just did a half round, half cylinder, and then a Technic brick, which I actually kind of like this because it doesn't have a hole on the outside, but then it's a little less accurate here. So either way, you can do it'll work all the same. But then these will connect on the outside of our rocket, just like that. And I can go ahead and stick all 8 on there, even though the colors are hideously unmatching. It's okay. The rocket will look cool. And I'll be honest, this was like super inspiring to me when I built this, that I'm like, I really want to finish this rocket. I love space stuff. One of the larger sets I own, I don't own a lot of sets if you know me, but one that I do own is the Saturn V, one of my absolute favorites. And that set is just unbelievable. And this would look really cool next to it if I made it and in the appropriate colors. But there we go, 8 boosters around the outside. I'll spare putting the middle one in because I'm going to do a 9 booster version here in a minute. But we had our solution. And that's where I got to by the time I checked the pictures and realized this was all kind of a waste. But not really, because we may have learned something here, and I'm sure you could find a cool application for this, even if it's not a Delta II rocket. All right, so that solution was done, and we had to start completely over. Now, like I said, building 8-sided is hard. Building 9-sided is exponentially harder. So I was trying to find pieces that could do 9 sides, and that's the tricky part. I couldn't find one, and I don't think there is one. But I found a few pieces that have 3 sides, one of them being this piece here. And if you have 3 sides, you can triple it and make 9 sides. But it's going to get kind of busy in there, so I'm going to layer it. What I did is I put some of these 2 long bars. These 1x1 rounds are just here as kind of spacers. They're not totally necessary, to be honest, but they space it out nicely, and they make everything sit nicely. And then I have 3 of these. So what I need to do is basically stagger them. And they're going to stagger just like this. I'm going to stick them all together, and then I need to get the spacing just right on them. And then we have a 9-sided figure in 3 layers. A little tricky, isn't it? Then I'll show you the rest of the core. So from there, what I did was this. I had to have 2 layers because you have to have 2 attachment points, and I made them correspond. So the top ones are going to be in the same orientation, the middle, same orientation, bottom, same orientation. So I'm going to slide this down in the top here, just like that. We're going to line up the tops. That way all the sides are attached by these two, then these two, and then these two. And it should line up nicely. This takes a bit of precision and a bit of tweaking to get it just right. But the nice thing is the sides I designed, they space it out really nicely, so these kind of fall in place on their own if you do it correctly. And from this angle, it looks kind of like a mess. If you look at it at this angle, it makes a little more sense in how we get our 9 sides. I think this one has to slide over just a bit more. Line it up with the bottom. And then we can start. On the top, I just did another one of these bricks, just like that. And I did build this upside down. You don't have to, but the design I did, it kind of worked well that way. I've got a little stud transfer, 2 plates together there. You could do it the other way, but you may need to tweak the design a little bit. But that is going to be the core of what I'm going to attach 9 boosters to. Now, the sides are pretty specific, and let me show you. So I had to make 3 different designs, and I apologize for the colors. Parts were limited. And this is a combination of down brackets and up brackets. I actually switched to headlight bricks for the portions that are going to attach to the boosters. You'll see why. If you don't like that, this design will work with the Technic 1x1s. But number one, I didn't have a lot of those. So adding 18 more was, I'd have to search through a bin for hours. I might not even have them. But I actually like this better, and you'll see why when I put the boosters on. Also, on this edge, I have tile, but I also have these wedges. If you really wanted to, you could do all wedges, and it would make it a little more seamless on the outside. But this is much more structurally strong. I know I should have done a 6 long here, but I was a little short on tiles. I wanted to try to keep it white if I could. But I actually like this, and with the boosters on, you barely see it. So it really doesn't affect the aesthetic too much. Now, what's different about these? So the top piece here, this is the headlight brick. That's where the booster is going to attach. These are snot bricks, 1x1 snot. And in each version of this, that snot brick is going to move down by 2 plates. So this one's right underneath the headlight. This one's 2 plates lower. This one's 4 plates lower. And then same thing at the bottom here. And that's going to allow them to line up with these pins. If you are trying to replicate this, I didn't want to build this in studio. So you can pause the video. You can examine these builds and how I constructed these. And basically it's just brackets, either downward facing or upward facing, and then a combination of plates and bricks. And then of course getting the snot bricks and the headlight bricks in the right position. And of course you can use Technic bricks instead, but I think you'll like this design when you see what I do with it. So here's 3 sides, but I actually need 9 of them. So I need 3 of each of these designs. So here we go. 2 more of those. 2 more of those. And 2 more of those. And that will allow me to start assembling this rocket. And like I said, I did these upside down for whatever reason. I think it just lined up better. But you don't have to. You can do it right side up. If you might have to reconfigure it a little bit. But basically, I'm just going to take those snot pieces, one on top, one on bottom, line them up, and stick them in. And they will go flush to my 4x4 round brick in the middle. And then here we need to make a little adjustment. We got to move this post over a little bit. That one doesn't look too bad. They will kind of fall in place on their own once I get a few more of them on there. They'll kind of butt up against each other, and then they'll really have no choice but to go where they're supposed to go. All right, and here's this. And here you can see what those tiles are going to look like. So you are going to have a little gap right here. And if you did all of these, it would look cleaner, but it's going to be a little more fragile. And I think this is the better design, just because the structural strength is kind of important here. If you remember Matt's email there, he said that he has a cool design and it looks good, but it's very fragile. And we don't want fragile. We want a strong rocket here. This thing has to make it all the way to outer space. So let's see here. We're just going to continue to put our sides on. I am all out of sorts here now. I lost track of what I was putting where. Oh boy, I'm all thrown off. There we go. That's one. So there's only 3 options. I should be able to find the right one. There we go. And next we need the middle position. There we go. Oh, and I didn't really mention, I attached these with a bar through the middle on each to make it stronger. And I basically have 4x4 round brick, 2x2 plates, then of course this stack, which is a 1x1 round, the triangle piece, 1x1 round, triangle piece, 1x1 round, triangle piece, a 1x1 round brick. And then we have a 4x4 brick. This is important because it keeps the center strong so you can't pinch it. And then another brick, this stack again, and then you have a 1x1 round, a plate, and a brick. So again, you can pause this if you need to figure out this configuration here. I know this is kind of a pain. I wish I could do a studio thing, but I am really not good at studio, and this would push me to my limit. But hopefully you can figure it out from here if you decide to do this design. And honestly, it came out nice. It's really strong when I'm done. And the nice thing with these two is they push in right to the brick and they kind of stop. And since it hits it in 3 places, it's really solid. I mean, it works nicely. And the final one, there we go. And there is our core. Now, why did I use headlight bricks? Well, the thing is, if I use Technic pins and try to pull the boosters off, I'm either going to leave the pin behind, which would look bad, and that's kind of what's going to happen on this design. You know, if I pull this booster off, you got 2 pins sticking there. So when the rocket is no boosters on it, it's kind of ugly unless you go pull all the pins out. And as I mentioned, every other pin is actually structural to the core, so you don't want to do that. So I devised a different plan here. One, I needed another booster because we're doing 9 now, not 8. And I decided to use half pins. And the reason being is on each booster, I could put the half pins in, and then they'll clip into the headlight bricks like this. And the cool thing about that is all I have to do is grab each booster, give it a tiny twist, and it'll pop right off and fall away, and our core stays nice and smooth. So I really like this design better than using the traditional Technic plates. Can also put the top of the rocket on here. There goes that. It's okay, we don't need that anymore. So we have a little larger rocket. And this one I do have the central engine in there as well. Let's go ahead and wrap this thing with 9 boosters to show you just how cool it looks. And I'll be honest, you know, I don't want to take credit from Matt because his build is amazing and definitely inspirational. But I'm kind of tempted to finish this, and I would definitely credit Matt if I did for the rest of the build. But this is a really cool build, and I would love to get the colors right and just do this and have it on display somewhere. So there's a decent chance I'm going to order these parts and finish this because, you know, I got the hard part done here, and the rest of it should be fairly straightforward. I might have a few more hiccups. I might have to email Matt and say, hey, how'd you do this? But I think I can figure it out, and I think I can make a cool looking rocket to put next to my Saturn V. If I do decide to do that, I'll definitely share the journey with you. It might not be a full series because, like I said, this video right here is going to be a long one, and this is going to cover the vast majority of the complicated part of this rocket. But obviously I got to order a bunch of white parts and a bunch of blue parts. I'm kind of dreading what those blue slopes are going to cost. Hopefully not too much. I'm thinking it's dark azure. I'm not positive. Matt, if you're watching, and I hope you are, because I did this video just for you, comment what color those slopes are, and I could email you too, but why not get a comment out of it, right? All right, let's pull these off. It is incredibly satisfying to snap 9 of these boosters on here. I'm just going to let you know that right now. It is really, especially the end product. It's like, wow, you know, it just feels so solid and so complex, but yet fairly simple. So there it is, 9 boosters. It's incredibly solid. And like I said, you can grab any one of these, give it a little twist, and they just pop away. And you can make them fall off just like the real thing. And the other cool thing about this, you can configure them in all of those different configurations. You can do any one of these setups. You can also do the long boosters or the short ones, just making these longer or shorter. And that was kind of the point of the Delta 2, was to be modular and be able to be adaptable for different amounts of different payloads, different trajectories. That was kind of what they were going for here. And what an awesome, awesome rocket. So let me know in the comments if you want me to finish this, because I think I might have to. I know this engine's supposed to stick out a little further, but I wanted to be able to sit it flat on a table. So let me know below what you think. I hope you like the solution, Matt. If you like this video, as always, please like, please subscribe. I'm going to do more just like this in the future. If you have a Lego problem, and yes, it has to be a Lego problem, not just a life problem, email me, bricksculpt.chris@gmail.com if I think it's a cool problem, if I can solve it, and I think other people will find it useful, I'll make a video on it. If you have any questions, please leave them below. That's all I have for this time, and we will see you next time.